am your professor for the day, Young Do Good. Today's Monday, and we're going to be focusing on mixing and mastering. Throughout the week, we got all kind of shows. Monday is mixing and mastering. Tuesday is songwriting. Wednesdays is beat making. Thursdays producer challenge, and Friday is artist development. So subscribe. Click on the link. It's on one of these sides. Subscribe and stay tuned for those shows. Monday, this is the first episode, season 1, episode 1, and we're going to be focusing on the perception of sound, visualization of sound. Now, to get started, we see in 3 dimensions, right? We can see up and down, left and right, forward, far and near, right? If sound can be perceived by the ears in the same way, what I mean by that is, say we're in a box right now, okay? We can hear up and down, left and right, and far and near. Now, how does that correspond with visually? Listen, far and near is represented with sound as volume. The louder something is, the closer it seems to you, and the lower something is, the further away it is. So that's far and near. Up and down is perceived by frequency. Every sound has frequencies in it. That's how we hear. That's what we hear, frequency. The lower in frequency a sound is, the lower it feels to you. The lower it is in our space of sound. And the higher something is in frequency, the higher it feels in our space of sound. So volume is far and near, frequency is up and down, left and right. It's panning, left and right, when you pan left and right. And those are 3 axes like X, Y, and Z, you know, in visual terms. Okay, so to put that in perspective, let me show you something. Let me show you something. Here, let me take these 2 things. Okay, why is that so important when you mixing a record? Because if you got, let's say we got a keyboard in theory, and this is a guitar. Okay, you got a keyboard and a guitar. Now, if they both were the same frequency, same volume, and same panning, so let's do that visually. Here is the guitar, and we pan it left and right. Let's put it in the center. Frequency, let's make sure that all the frequencies inside of it is middle frequency. I can't go too depth from frequency. We got an episode coming up with that later. So middle frequency, mid-range. And as far as volume, we turn it about right here. You know, louder, lower. So now we're gonna use all 3 techniques to mix this. What did I say this was, the guitar or the piano? We're gonna say guitar. Okay, now here's the piano. Let's say it was equally the same as this one was, the setting that we chose. Now listen, if you was to play this, this is how this is sound. Your ears hear this just as well as your eyes see this. They'll see that? Look at that. Bam, bam. So no matter how loud I turn, no matter how low, it's still covering it up. Or one might go like this and cover it up. You got to keep turning it up and keep turning that up. Turn that down, turn that up. Now, look what happens when I take the, what is this, the guitar? I forgot. The guitar, look what happens when I just pan it a little bit. Now I panned it, you can see it better. And guess what that means? Your ears can see it better, but their seeing is hearing. Your ears can hear it better. So now they're not cluttering each other, blocking each other from your ears, or they're not blocking each other from your eyes physically here. They're not blocking your ears when it's time for your ears to hear these 2 instruments. Okay, but that was just panning. Now imagine frequency. We take some of the low end out of the sound and put some high end in it, and look what happens. It goes up in the sky. So now it's easier to hear still because we can see it. And it's vice versa. We put more low end in this instrument. And if we did all 3, to put some high end in it, pan it a little bit, turn the volume up. Now this is where the sound. This is closer to you, right? And this is further away. And that's how it's going to sound when you play it back in the record, if you put them both evenly. And look what happens when you pan both of them, turn both frequencies up. Now look at all the space in this box that we got of sound. Look at all the space we got for other instruments. You can put the kick in there. Let me see. I ain't got nothing to represent the kick. Here, so you got the kick down in the center, right? You got the kick in the center. And so when you turn the sound on, boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Y'all understand what I'm talking about, right? Alright, so we're going to roll from there. Now that you understand what I'm talking about, let's mix a record together. Okay, now we're going to mix an R&B record. So all you rock people out there, all you hardcore rap people, stay and listen at this and implement it with your mixing. we're gonna do this. We're gonna mix this R&B record. You got this R&B record from this famous singer because you're a famous engineer, and this is what the record has. It has one kick, it has one snare, one hi-hat, a bass guitar, acoustic guitar, a piano or keyboard, whatever you want to call it, a lead vocal, and 2 background vocals. We're not going to focus on the hook. This is all lead, main vocal, and 2 background vocals because the hook could be mixed differently. Now, no instruments you're going to get ever going to be this messed up. But let's just say because a bass will already have more low end than the hi-hat. So it won't be like this, but let's just pretend that every sound has the exact same amount of frequency in it, volume, and panning all at once when you receive this record from Universal Studios, whatever. So bam, all of it down the center, right? Let's start mixing this record. I'm going to start off with the kick. So that's just what I like to start off with. So what I want to do with this kick is I want to take a lot of that high end out of the kick. Keep some of the mid-range. We're going to focus on frequency. You know what? Let me step back. Let's do the 3 areas of range, the X, Y, and Z axis of sound on each instrument. And let's knock them down one by one. Focus on frequency first with this kick. Kick. Let's knock out some of that high-end frequency of the kick. Keep some of the mid, and let's knock out some of the low end of the frequency. Okay? Bam. And then that's frequency, now volume. Let's turn the volume up a little bit. There we go. And leave it right there. Now, what would he say? Frequency, volume, and panning. Let's leave it in the center. Because I want just like a drum set don't have the kick all the way to the left of it or all the way to the right. A drum set, the kick drum is always in the middle of the drum set. So I try to keep my kicks in the middle of a record. I don't want them pan left. That don't make sense to me. But you might have a different opinion or different songs, whatever. Okay, now let's do the snare, and let's focus on its 3 areas in this dimension that we live in. Frequency. Let's take a lot of the low end out of this snare. Let's take a little bit of that high end out. Keep it mid-rangey. Yeah, so about right there. Now, frequency, volume. Let's turn it up a little bit. Let's turn it up. And panning, that's the 3rd and the axis. Let's pan it a little bit to the right. Yeah, my left is your right, my right is your left. Okay, we did the 3. Now you see these 2, you can visually see them a little bit better. Now, what do we got? I'm doing the drum set first. Let's do the hi-hats. First of all, let's get rid of all that bass because that don't even need to be in no hi-hats. All that mid too with them hi-hats. Hi-hats specifically called hi-hats because they high. So let's take them, well, not, maybe that's not why they named them, I don't know, but frequency, that's what we're doing. We're focusing on frequency on these hi-hats. So we're cutting out all that low end. Now, let's focus on volume. We're going to turn those down a little bit. Let's focus on panning. I'm going to pan them a little bit to the left this time. I know in the drum set you might see them with the snare over there, but just for this record, just the way I hear her vocals and the way I feel this song turning out, I'm going to pan it to the left. I know you're thinking, what song, what record? You got to have an imagination to be able to mix these records, to be able to follow me too with this process. Okay, now, that drum set pretty much, that's all they gave us. You know, Universal Studios, that's all they did with this record. It's pretty empty. Oh, the bass guitar. Let's focus on that bass guitar. Now, in this record, it's one of those basses that's more one of them low, you know, almost 808 sounding basses. You know what I'm saying? One of them low basses. So let's get rid of all the highs, get rid of most of the mid, keep it low. And for panning, okay, panning.